Shows up every day to East Canton, don't you?
I still go out there and just park alongside the road and feel comfortable.
That was probably pretty quiet out there, wasn't it? Except for
All right.
when people come down through there and throw garbage out, tired, root through that spot.
I think you missed the other day. Did you?
Okay, we're on live right now.
I'm gonna show the top every day.
He hides them.
He hides them.
Okay, President.
All right.
You're ready to roll here.
Thank you for attending the Osnaburg Township Trustee meeting on November 28th at 7:33. We'll call the meeting to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can gather in this place. We just ask that you watch over all the residents in the township and all those that are out there working here for our township. It's in your name. Amen. All right. Thank you for attending tonight. To put on record quickly, Trustee Pirro has a malfunctioning milker at the farm, so he's trying to fix it, and he may miss the meeting this evening. So he just called a few minutes ago. So we will go ahead and have a roll call vote all night, if you do not mind. We're going to work on down through. All right, approval of the agenda.
Trustee Griffith approves agenda as presented.
Trustee Varian, second roll call.
Griffith,
Yes.
Varian.
Yes. All right. Approval of the minutes from 11:14.
Can I
Yes.
interrupt?
Sure.
I did have a couple things to add on the agenda.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
That's fine.
Approved quick. Cemetery, being Ryan isn't here, I'll have a couple things there.
Okay.
And actually, that's it.
Okay.
The other one I talked to Stu about. Okay?
All right. Perfect.
All right, thank you.
All right. Trustee Varian moves to approve the minutes from 11:14 of 22.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
Roll call.
Griffith,
Yes.
Varian.
Yes. Okay. Do that. And I think.
You just got-
I'm going to sign the right one.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
And we need to approve the treasurer's report as presented, fiscal officer salaries, or anything we should know.
No, everything's okay. I will mention it right now. I know later on that your temporary appropriations for next year I'll have ready at the next meeting on the 12th.
Trustee Griffith motions to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Trustee Varian, second. Roll call.
Griffith.
Yes.
Varian.
Yes. All right, we're now to the section of public speaks. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate your time. We're going to start with Phil Francis. If you could come forward and state your name. Hi, Phil. How are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Good.
We
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem. Philip Francis, I'm a vice president with Huntington National Bank in their trust department. And as you folks know, I'm working with you regarding Sucos Park. And just to give you an update, finally, everything has been removed from the inside of the building located out there on Broadway.
Great.
And all the garbage has been removed from the outside, and the trailer, as I understand it, has also been chopped up and
Oh, the
hauled
camper.
away. The little camper, I
Yeah.
should say.
It's a mansion.
Yeah, so the gentleman, I was working with Bioscene Recovery, and the gentleman that owns Bioscene, his mother was in hospice last week. We had planned on getting together possibly even today, where he was gonna run me through the place, make sure it was up to the expectations of his quote. That did not happen because of that personal situation, but I am anticipating that I will get the walkthrough this week.
Great.
And be in position to basically meet with you folks at your convenience, whatever your schedules will permit, to review the property, hand you keys so that you can take whatever action you as trustees decide are your next steps regarding that building in particular and the property out there. So,
Phil, can you catch us up on the current power? Did they put temporary power in?
they put power to the pole
Okay,
that sits at close to the road at the front of the property.
okay.
building-
On a new meter then?
Yes.
It was
new
temporary
meter,
power? Okay,
Yes, new meter.
all right,
But the building itself does not have power
okay.
to it. So that is something that's gonna, as soon as we decide to move forward, that might be one of the first things on the agenda.
Right.
But it does not have power, so it does not have water.
And therefore, no water because of the well, correct?
Exactly.
So we need to get a new electrical inspection to see if the furnace is working, that we can even turn it on and things like that, or?
I would say, yes, you're gonna need basically a complete inspection from
Yeah,
top to bottom.
I think after, I mean, I don't know this, but I think after I walk through Phil Francis, we'll figure this out. The building's in pretty rough shape. So I mean, we may have to make some decisions on if we just leave it cold this year. You know, it looks like it was an afterthought dwelling, so to speak. You know, it was some resident space was put in the back of a garage. It's really what looks like happened. So we'll have to walk through and kind of get a good feel for it, because we may not want to spend some money on that currently. I mean, we'll have to look at it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's gonna deteriorate significantly
Yeah.
if you just leave it as is, but
Okay.
I would leave that up to you folks to tell me.
Okay.
You know, as trustee, we're willing to work with you, as I've indicated before. If dollars need to be spent to get electricity to the building,
Okay.
And you want to do that now, we'll work with you to get that done.
Great.
Using, you know, folks of your choosing.
Okay.
We're basically in a position at this point, as long as you are planning on moving forward and using that property as a park, whatever expenditures you would need to make, you would decide to make, we'll be there to pay those bills, looking down the road to it becoming a park, whether that's this spring, summer, or who knows how far down the road. It's a work in progress. That building is a work in progress. So,
Absolutely. Phil, did we ever come across, and I don't know if we've done this research yet, do we know if there's a good septic on good septic is probably, is there a septic on the property?
I do not know that. I haven't
Okay.
really, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Because there was no power to the building, it really wasn't something that I took it upon myself to do. We've been trying to basically, and as you both know, we were trying to get everything out of there.
Understood.
I had heirs of Ms. Sukos who were entitled to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to work with them, really bent over backwards more than I probably should have, and giving them time to remove that, because it was easier for them to go through that process than for me to just start going in.
So would you say that they're satisfied, or are we going to hear more from them?
They're satisfied. They've signed waivers.
Oh, okay.
And that was the only reason I proceeded to have everything else hauled out of there. So we've got their signed approval, and
Correct.
they're holding everybody harmless going forward regarding anything that was left there after they completed the sales.
Sack it
And
out.
so they're done, they won't be back?
They won't be back.
Okay.
Is the lock still the same way? Or
Locks
like
are
have been changed?
No,
Did
locks-
they have keys to that facility?
No, I have all the keys.
Okay.
I mean, you may want, what we did find is kind of late in this process, we found out there was an extra room that we were not aware of. And so we had to use force to get into that, because the keys, we had changed all the locks that we were aware of, hadn't changed that lock, weren't even aware that that room was there. So they had to break into that. So it may be and this is something, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but once I hand you the keys, if you want to change the locks, and if I ever need to get in there, I can come to you.
Sure.
If you're comfortable with that. If you're not, then you tell me you want the locks changed.
Sure.
We can do that.
Phil, at
And-
this point, there's nothing to steal, right? It's an empty building.
Yeah, I would
Empty
just
building,
worry
right.
about somebody trying to,
Squatting. Yeah.
would be the only thing.
With no utilities and no power, I mean, it's a hard place.
Right, and I think I don't know that anybody has kind of left that building alone. I had another property in Canton that wasn't so fortunate that Ms. Sukos also owned, that had to be sold. And the proceeds were added to this trust, actually.
Right.
And that property got broken into at least a couple of times, and they took all the copper pipe out.
Oh,
And so, I guess we're fortunate in Osnaburg Township. Hopefully you don't have too many of those kinds of problems like they do in the city of Canton. But we can't be too careful. Whatever you folks decide to further secure the property,
okay.
I'm on board with that.
So
Okay.
do you have insurance on the property
Yes.
now? And is that liability in case someone gets hurt on there too, besides? And if somebody decides to set the building and burn it down?
It's full coverage.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
And so quickly, we have the screen up here. Quickly, just as a review on the just under 50 acres that we're looking at here, there's only one structure. And at this point, everything's out of the building that's not attached to the walls, I assume, or maybe is. And then the little structure there in the back of what we're seeing there was the camper, I believe.
Oh, it was over
That
here.
was
Right.
the camper. Yep, and that's
Correct.
gone as well.
Yeah.
So really on this 48 plus acres, there's no other structure and there's no other equipment. It's just farmland, some till. If you scroll out for us a little bit there. Thank you. Perfect. Great. Okay.
Right. So we have the 1 acre parcel that has the building on it.
Yes, that's the
And-
line you see. Yeah.
Right here.
And you may not be able to see you can probably see the lines. The
Yeah,
pro-
you
the
probably
actual
can't see
lines,
where
in
you're
pro-
at.
but there are
There's a
two
line.
parcels. There's the large parcel.
Yep.
And then the 1 acre parcel that has the building on it.
Okay. Great. Phil, would you like to set up a time with us now to meet? Would you rather meet with your cleaning crew and walk through and then contact us? Or we'll go ahead and put that on the calendar now.
Well, what I would propose to do is let me get the keys.
Okay.
Let me have that walk through, since I contracted with the gentleman and he's always been very good to work with, but I'd like to make sure it's the way I want it to be. Like I said, I'm anticipating that'll be this week, and then I can call Mr. Lowry if that's okay.
Great.
Once I've got had that walkthrough and have the keys, and then you three can look at
It'll
your
probably have to
schedules.
be a daytime since there's no
That's
electric
fine.
in. No, that's why I'm asking.
Daytime, weekend, doesn't matter.
Okay, but there's no electric, so we need to be in daylight hours.
Right, unless you want to walk around with a flashlight. That's exactly right. So, yeah,
Okay. Sounds good.
Phil, the question I have, with the electric temporary hooked up, would they have extension cords from the pole in there when they were doing temporary is how they did it?
that's correct.
So
We
is
had
there a
extension
receptacle or something out there you assume, or I
cords. Oh,
looked at it.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
They ran extension cords from the power on the pole
Okay.
across the yard.
Yep.
Into the
Right.
building.
Phil, do you know, is that temporary pole have a timeline? Is it going to be pulled out soon?
No,
Is that part of that?
it's part of it's already
It'll
on
stay.
there.
Yes, it's been paid for.
Yeah.
It's not, it's
Got
not temporary.
He's got
Okay.
the new meter on it, right?
Yeah.
Phil, I forward him, it's in the township's name. I forward that bill. It's anywhere from
Okay.
$20 to $30. The last one was $30 and I just emailed that to you
Right.
today.
Okay, so
And
just a
he
point
took
of
care of it.
clarification. When you talk about a temporary pole, you see a new house being built. Temporary pole runs down, hook a meter up. Temporary, pull it out, take it to the next house. This is not necessarily a temporary pole. This is a pole with a meter and an outlet that's built separate from the building.
It was a
Absolutely.
temporary meter for,
Right, but it's not going anywhere as a
Not
temporary.
going anywhere
Okay,
unless
so
you
it's
folks.
Unless
kind of like
we
a
do
farm
something.
meter.
Okay.
It's in our.
because
it's
they
in the
wouldn't
township's
put power to the building because it wouldn't pass inspection after being turned off for so many years.
It was,
So-
yes, that's
Yep.
correct. It was gonna require at least 2 or 3 more approvals for us to get power to
Oh,
the
yeah.
building.
Yeah.
We did not wanna wait.
So
on
so we
having
have
those
power
sales.
out there. It's just you got to run extension cord.
Yeah,
Okay.
just not to the building,
Yeah,
just
that's
the
fine.
pole.
that's fine.
Great.
So to update you what we've been doing, we've been in contact with Joe Leslie. I don't know if you know him, but he works for a natural resource foundation, and he's walked the property, and he's going to help us determine. He loved the property. It has very little invasive species on it, and it's in good shape. He's going to help determine some of the stuff that we want to do there. And then the 2 gentlemen sitting behind you there are our state award coaches. And one of the things that we're looking to do is to put in a cross-country running trail. And so we're waiting to put the sign up until Mr. Leslie has cleared which part of that front piece we should put it in. And he also provides funding, grants for properties like this. And he said that we definitely would be eligible for several grants. And one of them would be to help with the cost of putting in the parking lot. And so, in the driveway and whatever we determine that we're going to do. And so we're going to try to be very fiscally responsible with the money that's sitting in the trust and get as much help from outside as we can.
Excellent. I mean, that's all good news, it sounds like, and
Great.
we're here to work with you in any way we can on behalf of the trust, and congratulations to you two gentlemen. I live in Marlington, so
Yeah.
I know all about great cross-country programs. That's very exciting. So we'll hope we can do something together that makes sense for the community and the school. So
Great.
look forward to
But we're
that.
still, our thought is still that we want to keep it, we're not putting ball fields in there. We're going to more of a natural type park. We might put
And
some
we're gonna-
pavilions or some things like that, but we're not building ball fields.
Well, and we're gonna let the environmentalists help us, but if you look at that parcel, to get back to the 50 acres, a lot of that is marsh. So on this picture, north, the very far north edge is the driveway that goes back. That's solid. Anything south of that is pretty wet. So we're gonna have to talk about how to get in there to be able to be kind to our neighbors, because there's a house right next door, some things like that. So there's a couple things to consider, but it's a great piece of property and we're excited. So.
Phil, what do we need to do once the trustees start talking let's say, for example, a grant and anything like that? Are we going to need to put funds in our accounts because I created a fund, or do we just keep coming to you with permission? I know you said you have a certain dollar amount that you can do, threshold that you need to have, but then anything over that amount, you have to have approval. I just didn't know what we needed to do moving forward, anything financially, even if it's a small scale. Like say if we wanted to get, actually when Trustee Griffith gets the information from that Joe, is it Leslie?
Yeah.
And once we get that information, we might want to have a developer even come in to help with maybe something to do at the entrances to help us guide us through that. I didn't know, can we just still here present you with a quote and say, here's what it's going to cost, and as long as it's under that threshold?
Since we're applying for grants, we'll have to have a developer, we'll have a quote for like the parking lot or the road. And generally, we only have to put up, I think, 25% of the cost is what we would have to put up, and the grant covers 75%. But all that would be presented to you to approve before we would move forward with applying for the grant. We would tell you this is what we want to do.
Well, I think that would be the best way to approach it. As was pointed out, I have the ability to basically, just with my signature, distribute $100,000 in a calendar year. Above that amount, I have to go get the approval of a committee. And that's about a 2-week process.
Yeah.
I can't believe that anything you folks would request is going to cause them heartburn, but there would be a delay. So you just need to be aware of that. I think the best thing to do is just keep the lines of communication open.
Yeah.
And as you work through the process and you see the next thing coming down the pike, just reach out to me. Let me know what you're thinking. It can be by email. However you folks are able to communicate. Once the decision is made, you're going to move these steps. Or if you want me to come here to a meeting and we sit and just talk about what you've got in mind, I'm okay with coming back as often as we need to as you move your plans forward. But with that $100,000 limit in mind, I don't know, you're probably not putting a huge parking lot out there, at least to begin with.
We're just going to take baby steps and
And
grow it as we
Kind
go.
of what I thought. So that $100,000, we ought to be okay with that.
Yeah.
But if you needed an environmental study, if you needed a
Well, the
formal
environmental
environmental study,
Well, that's what he does, but
but
it's
if
through a
you have to
foundation.
pay
it's
him
free.
for it.
I don't.
Okay, well, that's good. But if you had that, or let's say back to the electric,
Okay.
you want an electrician to come out
Mhm.
and take a look at the property, the building.
Okay.
What's it gonna take to get it
Save it.
so that it's workable? So you can turn the
Okay.
lights on. If they're gonna charge you up front to do something like that, or they say, we need to bring somebody else in. If you've got to hire outside people and pay them, I don't think we're gonna have a problem with that $100,000.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and go,
Okay.
because we've already had this conversation I'm not gonna have any problems with anything like that.
Mhm.
If something new and kind of that we haven't talked about comes
Sure.
up, then let's talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
As a fiscal side of it, any of those costs, will I be able to submit, say, the trustees have something approved, can I submit it right to you and you're gonna pay it? I don't have to go and say, hey, we need a check cut to put
Just
in
like
our
that
account.
electric bill.
Okay, just like the
Mr. Lowry,
electric
not
bill.
to interrupt you, but just like that electric bill, you
Okay.
just, you
All
can email it to me.
Right.
And if you tell me that the trustees have approved payment.
Yeah.
Then I'll pay it.
Well, I'll always
Well,
attach-
and
I'll
we're
attach
gonna be
a
making things
resolution.
happen here, but, you know, the grass is gonna grow, and we're gonna have to cut it, and we're gonna have to figure that out. I mean, just some of those types of things.
Sure.
Sure.
Well, and the other thing that the environmentalist had said to me was that, because he was happy that it was being farmed, and he said, until you're ready to start doing things, you want to keep it being farmed so that we don't have that growth of bad things that we don't want.
Has he-
And that's not a problem. We signed a 1 year
With the current farmers.
with the current
Jennifer, can you
farmer.
tell us what the name of the current farmer is?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know that off the top of my head.
Holman brother or?
I think it was the same one that did it last
I
year.
think it was the same gentleman that
I think it
was
was.
farming it before, so if you
Yeah.
know that name, I'm
Holman brothers,
99.
Broadway? Or-
Yeah, I think-
99%
I
sure.
think that connection was made, yeah.
Yeah, they made connections and my real estate folks
Great.
signed a formal lease for 1 year, so they'll go back and do that again unless you tell me, don't do that.
Yeah, you won't do that till spring, right?
Right.
Because I'm not sure if we want to do that again or not, but we'll see.
Before we would sign anything, you would know,
Okay, great.
well in advance.
All right, Phil, thank you very much.
All right, you're very welcome.
Yeah, you always bring us good news. Appreciate that.
All right, well,
And
I
money.
hope it's always that.
That's right. We'll keep that pattern going.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for your
Well,
time.
you
Appreciate
have a great rest of your year. Happy New Year. And
Thanks for
if
calling.
anything comes up in the interim,
Great.
just reach out and we'll take care of it.
And once you get through it with your guy, let Brian know, and we'll schedule something, and we'll get out there together and go walk through it.
Perfect.
Great.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
Phil.
You too.
Thanks.
All right, Mr. Tom Wood, you're next on our public speaks.
I wasn't planning on speaking.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll say this, and I volunteered Coach Sternberg for this too, because I was thinking, I think her name's Jeannie, is that right? The daughter of John Sukos,
Okay.
and she walks around the track. And we were out having our 100-mile relay.
Yeah.
And she asked me, have you taken your kids off running on that new property that the township has now? And I remembered something about it, but I didn't know. So I said, no, not really. And she said, well, I was the daughter of the couple, I think the wife, the widow, was there and gave up the land. But her and her husband lived near the school. And again, I don't know this. To really bore you, 1977, I baled hay for a guy named John Sukos. Very cantankerous old guy. I didn't do anything right, but he didn't do anything right either. A couple times, just really hard to get along with. And so I knew where the property was because I baled hay behind his house a couple times. And so I understood where this was. Anyway, I thought, no, we haven't got on there. After cross-country season, I'll check it out. And in the meantime, I'm thinking of who could be someone that knows how to plan a running place for kids to run that's retired and has nothing else to do and may want to help out a little bit. So I asked Coach
So.
if he would like to do that. And I told Brenda, we, again, at the end of the cross-country season, I saw the couple again. It's an older guy, and his wife is related to the Sukos couple. Anyway, I saw them again because they're always walking up at the track, and they asked me again, you know, if I'm going to do that. I said, yeah, we'll plan on it. They didn't know anything about it other than they would like the kids, I think, to run up there instead of being on the track while they're trying to walk. I think, but I don't know. It's a safer place to run.
Yeah.
And Coach Sternberg and I went out and looked at the place, and it would be a nice place to get the kids off the road.
Sure.
You know, we've always run into strip mines for years, but the strip mines aren't what they used to be.
They're not.
Heck, they put a nice golf course.
They're not what they used to be.
So we don't go back there very much. People don't want us back there. And so might be a good opportunity. And we do run at Worley Park sometimes.
Yeah.
And I understand it. But-
Yeah, and
That's
actually,
what I'm
can you scroll down on that, as you brought that up, Mr. Loy?
Yeah.
If you scroll up a little bit, the bottom, where his cursor is there.
Let me get
Actually,
over
gonna
it.
go,
Sorry,
keep going up.
I'm on a
You're
different
fine.
setup here.
That's fine.
And yeah, we were
So,
wondering
right at the
where-
bottom of that corner right there, that's Worley Street that comes all the way up.
Yep.
And so
Worley
the park
Street's
is fairly, the current Worley Park is fairly close.
I ran at one time all the way up to the end of Worley, and there's a house there, right there where the cursor is.
Yep.
And ran through, and Macaulay's lived there, on Broadway.
Yes.
And we drove up and we ran up through Macaulay's,
Yep.
because I went to school with Macaulay's.
So the Macaulay's current home was the old Succo's farm.
Well.
Okay.
there's
Oh,
So where the
those
on
Macaulay's
the
live
other-
now, that was the original Succo's
Okay.
house and barn, and
Yeah.
all the land behind it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and where that brown building is behind there, I put.
This
hay
I
along
believe
there.
is Macaulay. Let me see if I can pull it up. What's that?
Yeah, Macaulay's
This
is
is
like right across from Walters.
So
Walters comes
where
up.
Worley goes there, because it goes so far and then it stops,
Right,
we're trying, and we've talked with the two farmers that border that about initially that we'd like to connect the park to Worley. Whether we can try to get an easement or we purchase a little piece of the ground there and make it a formal Worley, extend it further, or just make it a driveway, or I'm not sure what the technical requirements would be, but and that's-
Possibly
that
tie
sits
them
on-
together, possibly. It
right.
wouldn't be an end all, but
No, it would be nice, and again, even if
Yeah.
you have an entrance off of Broadway, I think it would be a nice
Right.
park, and I know.
well, and we were talking about running as well, Orchard Street now exists all the way through.
Yeah.
With the Hope Committee, it did not before.
That's
So
right,
it's on the map. You can see the easement right where the cursor is. That's
Right.
where that's where the road existed on the map, and now it's in. And so
And I used to
there's gonna
live
be
right
some-
next door
used
to
to live
there.
right there.
Yeah, the Hope is right here. right?
Yep, that's right. That's where Hope is right there.
So
Yeah.
that's the
road. That's the road.
Hooks are right
And
in.
it's on the map because it was plotted there
It was
like
plotted.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
when I lived there, the plan was there was road going to be through, and that was again in the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
Oddly enough. All right, well, I think that's all I have to say, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna volunteer my services if you need any help, when I can.
Great.
But I know somebody else that might volunteer that has more time than I do.
Well, we don't know that much about
Right.
cross-country
Right.
and what the needs are, so that's why we need you to help guide us
Right.
on
And-
what
And then
would be best.
we've seen lots of, different facilities. We were just over in Indiana, and saw one of the state-of-the-art facilities, in Terre Haute, Indiana, but,
Mhm.
are you guys familiar with Fry Park?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it has grass, trails around it.
Very
It's
hilly.
real nice, very hilly, but it's nice, has a nice big pavilion up at the top.
Yep.
And it's kind of a
It's got a lot of
natural,
natural,
yeah.
non-kept spaces.
Right,
Yeah.
and I've gone there to run a couple times, but it's a little too hilly for me.
Coach,
But-
one of the things that was brought up too, and this was brought up by Miss Amy Parker's husband, Ben. She and Ben were on a trip and they went and found one of the parks they were working in. She can talk more about it. But it was almost a, what would you call it?
It's a Ninja Warrior.
It's a Ninja Warrior course
Yeah.
that's set up for the kids. And it wasn't high elevations or anything that could be hurt by, but you just put your hand on the buzzer, so to speak, and then you went through this warrior course for the little ones and you went back and see who could go fastest, and pretty neat.
Yeah,
And different for a park, and something we could, some different things to look into. Since a playground is right there at Worley, we can look into some other things for this as a possibility. Some different options.
That are different, not
Yeah.
normal
Yeah.
playground
there's
things.
lots of ways to go,
Yeah.
but I like that.
Yeah.
And the place we were in, Terre Haute, happens to be sponsored by a little company called Nike, so
Yeah.
they've done some things with it.
Yeah.
Make their towers to visualize runners and stuff.
Mr. Loy, where are you running in the township currently?
We run on our school property,
Okay,
and there's a cell phone tower back there, and it goes back to the Ellington property. We go there, and
Okay.
it connects over to Mid-A Road. When we don't want to run along 172, that's a good way to get out to Mid-A.
okay.
We do that, and then our cross-country course, which is beautiful.
And your course is all on property at the
At the
school?
school, yeah, all around the property.
Great.
But, if you're going 5 or 10 miles, hard to run.
Yeah,
loops
sure.
around. Kids don't like to be on the track or 1 mile loops around the
Yeah.
school and stuff.
Yeah.
We go out to your place,
Mhm.
the Varian Farm. We go down Sometimes.
Yeah.
Wood Street, which is a little more traveled, but we go out to.
Right.
Burger is a better way to get there.
Yeah, sure.
And then I'm trying to find a way to get through the allotment and go through without getting on the road too much, but
Right.
it's kind of rugged.
Yeah.
But we go all the way out to my old house, by
Yep,
way of
all the way up
Burger,
to Mapleton
all
Street,
the-
back
yeah.
Mapleton, yeah,
And then down
Right.
Maple Street, that's a nice 7-mile
okay,
loop about.
Right.
But for the longer people, again, I know 7 miles seems like a lot, but for a couple of girls and then some of the guys, that's just a everyday run. They
well,
go-
since we're kind of here in the early stage of this and you're here, if you had a wish list for 50 acres, what would you like to see on it?
What do you want to see?
Well, I want to know what the residents want, because,
What's the direction? That's a great question. What direction do you want to go? We talk about a park course,
Mhm.
Frisbee golf. We're talking about a place they can hit golf balls. We're talking about ninja.
Yeah, I
Talk
think
about
we
just
rolled out the
paths.
golf balls. We kind of want to keep it things that are more natural.
I really like Fry Park around here. That's
Mhm.
one of my favorite parks to go because the trails are natural. They're not, again, nothing wrong with Whirly Park, but the
Yeah, it's
asphalt
it's an
trail.
asphalt.
Yeah, it's a little unforgiving for the
It's
feet.
beat up asphalt.
At the front part, we were talking maybe we'll have a parking lot and we want to have a place for kids, whether it's something like that, the ninja thing, or we talked about maybe a splash pad somewhere, not a swimming pool. And the reason why we said splash pad is because we did a survey with the kids at the school through that Tom Todd, and everybody wants a pool. Well, we're not going to put in a swimming pool, but maybe a splash pad is like an alternative.
What's a splash pad?
It's it has
It would be,
holes where the water
it would be
just comes
squirters
up.
out of the ground.
Squirt, so like you can cool off.
Kids can
There's-
run through it.
Pretty much the insurance company says there's not a body of water to drown in.
Yeah,
So the insurance is way lower
So-
and the upkeep is way lower.
like if you were running, you're across country, then you could stop and a lot of times they have a button. The only thing right now we're sitting waiting because the state, there really isn't any regulations on them yet. And they're finding that the ones that people put in, Louisville has one that they put in.
When it, yeah, at
That
Aljansic
it's,
Park.
they put it in without a purification system for the water. And so now the state's coming back and it's kind of halted on going in right now until they figure what rules they're putting in place to make sure it's of health standards.
My biggest concern is we run the roads all the time. Any way we get the kids off the roads, whether it's 172 or 44, mid-A.
Yeah, even mid-A, we have problem with,
Oh,
it's a lot better than
There's no
172. but if we go
people
on-
fly so
Yeah.
fast on that road.
Yeah.
So
They
that's
fly
what-
everywhere.
As Amy and I walked up to each other at a
Wood
pretty bad,
Street.
at a pretty bad accident on Wood Street on that cold night, she looked at me and said, "The kids run on this road." And I said, "I know, because I drive it every day. We all drive it every day.
Right, right.
It's a
Not like
hard road. It's a hard road to run on."
This year was the first year our girls' team never ran out Wood Street. We did go out Burger.
Yeah,
Get
sure.
there all the time,
Sure.
but
The traffic
never
was
ran
wild.
out Wood. just
But if there's a chunk of land, yeah.
Terrible. But I can't run with them, that's really why.
So we thought that being 50 acres, especially if it goes around the perimeter, you ought to have a pretty good
Right.
Distance.
And again,
That'd take a little while to get around.
trail
that.
around that perimeter or even zigs and zags around.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get a good, he runs, and I have too, his team goes to Metzger Park in Louisville and runs mile repeats, because no place, Worley Park or our property isn't real conducive to do mile repeats. You've been doing that for 20 years probably. So, I envision something like that we could go there and maybe not run on the trails, but run.
Coach, when you do my repeats at Metzger, are you running on their asphalt track? Or are you running in the grass?
It's a great question. Yes and no. I
Okay.
tell my kids all the time, stay on the grass.
Yeah, yeah.
Invariably, they still go on the asphalt.
Sure.
Why? You run on grass, you don't get the rebound effect.
Shin splints.
You don't go quite as fast. You get on asphalt, you go a little bit quicker, but then you open yourself up to injuries. And I tell them all the time,
Right.
run on grass.
Right.
It's cross country, you run on grass all the
Yeah,
time.
sure.
so you guys walked the terrain or was out there, so what do you think about it? Is
I
it
think it's
suitable?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And
Yeah.
there's places we could make paths.
Yeah.
Again, what type of path do you want?
Yeah, right.
If you talk to
Are we talking-
people down Canton, there's a rubberized surface, 1.5 miles to downtown park, all right? The part that we went to in Terre Haute is all grass.
Yeah.
All they did is mow it, which means maintenance.
Now the plain local park that's close to their high school, there's a fire station, and behind it, there's a cinder track, what's it called?
Veterans Park.
Veterans Park. There's a cinder track and then 2 strips of grass and then woods, marsh, it's all thick. But there's cinders, and then I know my family we walked with the kids around. There's a dog park back in there, and but it's a lot like I think what we're looking for here. It's pretty easy to keep because it's 2 mows down, so it's not growing in on you. And then there's a cinder, some sort of stone as the path.
Well, I don't even know if we're looking at stone. I think this is going to be stages.
Yeah.
I think really at first we're looking, maybe we're going to, I haven't been on it. I don't know if it needs like a dozer just to push a little pathway,
Well,
but it's going to stay dirt, grass, whatever it is.
Right.
If you've ever been on the course that we have at our school,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you cut some built there, it's not real hard to start. It's, again, unless you mow it on each side. I think the Metzger Park or the Louisville Park on the other side of Georgetown is like that. It becomes crushed limestone, and it goes all the way out to where the road that is.
Well, the nice thing about this opportunity, we have to obviously sit around and talk about it and decide what the future looks like, but putting in paths to create a space to be used is so much quicker than a lot of the plans that we have. I mean, down to a splash pad. We're talking infrastructure, we're talking water well, we're talking way to get rid of the water, we're talking about real power that's come in, we're talking about, we could put paths in this place and start using it pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
And not that we're gonna, right now it's all tilled. And right now there's a little bit of income coming in on the property because of that, not a lot. But the whole idea is for this to be a park. This is why she left it. This is why she left the land. This is why she left the money. And so we need to be working toward that.
A dozer
Mhm.
and a roller.
Mhm.
To have it smooth.
To create your path.
Yeah, that's what I think too, just, because you want it to be, because if there's older people coming walking, I don't want to have a path that has like roots sticking up in it and stuff.
Okay.
So the other thing we have to look at too is when we look at this, and again, we're very early in the stages of this, but for just the sake of argument, let's say we build a path all the way around the perimeter. That's boring, I know. But we build a path all the way around the perimeter. Like you said, if you don't till it and we just run the perimeter in the next couple of years, it's going to have saplings. It's going to take over. So maybe we figure out a compromise to say, all right, we're going to build our path and then we're going to let that farmer till 30 acres of that thing
Yeah, in the middle.
in the next 2 years. Do you see what I'm saying? If we say, oh, no more tillage, we're going to build this path, it's all just going to grow up. That's what's going to happen.
Well, you're not gonna wanna make paths just fall on the outside of the property line. They're gonna want it to zigzag back and forth.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Could you still till it? Can you still farm it and keep those paths?
I would say you figure out what you want to do pathwise, and then you see if there's any spots of plant land left. There's 20 acres right here, and there's 10 acres over there. If you want to till it, you can have it for this amount of money. If not, then we'll take it back over and decide we're doing
Right. I think the first thing is to determine what does that pathway need to look like.
Yeah.
Then we'll determine what we can do.
Then we
with it.
could, look at seeing what's farmable inside of that.
And then the question becomes: is that path that we've dozered and we've rolled and we upkeep? Is that path for people to walk? Is that path for people to walk their dogs? Is that people to drive their horse? I mean, where are we?
They got
we
a lot
have
of
to-
equipment out there nowadays.
Yeah.
And you're talking about
I don't think
dozing
it's
and
going to be a
rolling
horse
it to
path.
try to make it
Because they're going to tear
smooth.
it apart.
There's machines and stuff that go around there and chew that up and
It doesn't.
press it back down so you don't have roots and all that
Right.
different stuff.
I don't think we have this in the Osnaburg Township community. Maybe we do, but I know over in Louisville right now they're looking at building their library in some of their green space, and their bird lovers had an absolute fit, and they pushed hard back. Now they're working through that, but they had some bird watchers that said, "Don't you dare cut that grass down." So I mean, everyone has their own stake in the game.
And again, I come from where I used to live on Mapleton Street. The Cartwright's farms are back 5 acres, and just to keep the land clear for us, and they always wanted to pay us, and we said no. They'd sell the hay and give us some money, but that's it. But, so we want to be good neighbors, whoever's farming it now, again, I don't know who it is. We can still accommodate them,
Yeah.
especially if the township's getting some money for them. to farm.
Well, and I would say that's only if it works.
Yeah.
That's only if it works. If we find that our community kids are running on this, we've created a path and they're using it, that's the goal.
We will run on it. I mean,
That's the goal.
That's what I'm
Is
excited
to-
about, because
Yeah.
it's another place we can go
You can go
that I
and,
can feel safe.
And we know that there's maintenance to it and it'll have to be mowed and things like that, but we have funding to cover those costs.
and we've
So-
talked about it being very natural, but we've also had the conversation of possibly bathroom houses, possibly pavilion. You know, we're not just gonna say, hey, there it is, fend
Right.
for yourself. With some of these funds and some of these grants, we'd like to see a driveway, we'd like to see a parking lot. We'd like to see maybe a pavilion that people can, when we talk about renting it out, that opens a whole different can. But, you know, bathrooms, drinking fountain, some things like that. So you could actually go there, set up shop, do your workout.
Yeah, but that's down the road.
That's not the
Right.
What's the original intent? What did the will say?
The
A
will,
park of any sort, whatever we
will
want it
was-
to be.
very vague,
Very big.
like 5 pages,
Very big.
when it should have been
It
100.
has to be named
We
Sioux
thought
Falls
about
Park.
the track right off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only thing that was etched in stone was that it has to have the name Sioux Coast Park in it. It could say maintenance or maintained by Osnaburg Township after that. but-
So probably the first thing you're gonna see out there is a
Yeah.
sign that's gonna say that.
And a driveway, and once we figure out where
And
that is,
as,
and
as long as the
parking lot.
trustees and the township is always working on it, we'll always stay in control of it. As long as we're doing that. If we fail to do that and we upset our,
And then the bank,
Trustee.
Phil Francis is a representative from the bank
yeah,
that took it on. So obviously they get a kickback. You can't be doing this for free, but they get a kickback from the account. And the account has,
so she left like $1 million.
there's
with
kind of.
there's one point almost 2 million in the account after the assets have been sold. And then they invest that money, and it looks like, according to what I'm looking at, around $40,000 a year that generates. And then, you know, that farmers farming, there's a well or something else on there. I see that there's getting some money for, but at the same time, they got to pay the taxes. They got to pay
Mhm.
all those other costs out of that. But it looks like you have a pretty good cushion. You heard him say about 100,000.
Yeah.
You know, even if you got it down where you can maintain it for 50 grand a year or 40 and keep that really close, that money would last for years. But with Trustee Griffith mentioned about grants and getting that shared expense to keep that down.
So like I said,
think
we
that's
haven't,
good.
we haven't made a lot of decisions yet, but
No.
just so we have, when we're talking about it, do you guys feel that if we made a decision to say one of the first things we want to do is create a running path on this, do you feel that if we had the funds to produce some excavators and we have some funds to produce some earth movers, you guys would be able to go out there and create a path, a track?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Would you ever think about putting a pond in the lake?
well, there's a wet spot and it's only down on that side on the corner. Well, there's marsh up there, but I think it's broken tiles from the farming of it. Then when I
think in this
talked to
middle,
the,
Is that down around where the
See,
well was?
see right here, Brenda?
yeah,
Right there, that's wet in that area. I see they don't really farm that. when you
they're just
go-
going around it. We
Yeah,
can,
they're going around it, but the other wet spot is on that back side right here.
we're not, the environmentalists that walk the property said it's up to us what we want to do. If we want to turn it into a little pond, we could, or if we want to fix the tiles and drain it off somewhere. So there was no rule that you have to do this.
Right.
So it's really, what is it that, and he'll come with some recommendations, but it's also going to be for us to say, well, this is where what we're looking at doing.
Mhm.
So if you have ideas, you need to give them to us, bring them forward.
Well, and if you build a pond, then coach has dirt to make hills,
As what?
has dirt to make hills.
Well, we can always bring dirt in too.
Well,
But I
that's-
You
thought-
want it to,
Roll it up.
you want it to be a
Yeah.
tough course, man.
You want to have some rolls?
Yeah, you want to climb something. You don't want it to all be flat.
Yeah.
So, but we're really not, we're not looking for a golf range. We're not looking for anything like that.
Mhm.
Where people can just enjoy the outside.
We need to make a decision, but I think of all the things we've talked about for this, one of the quickest ways to use the property would be creating a
the
cross-country course
I
on it,
agree. So are you
or a
willing to
running
help
path.
take the lead on this with us?
Absolutely. Whatever you need.
Because we don't, I mean,
Great.
I know when I go watch what I see. That's about it.
And we're not, he and I went out there, we're not sure exactly where the border is either, because the other field goes through, so. we
Yeah.
have to
We
check it out.
need to go out too and walk it.
Right.
We're gonna get in that building and
I will say, if it's okay, as soon as
Yep.
he gets back and you get to it,
Yep.
we can be running on it a week later.
Yeah.
For our winter training because.
Yeah.
So you run in the winter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well,
Oh, you're,
it's already insured, so once
Oh, yeah.
once we get the property lines marked, you're free to run on it.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know what it's like right now.
It's rough terrain because we're out there.
yeah,
walking.
it's tilled. It's not, yeah, you're gonna
But
have to work on
if
it.
you just go over it with a four-wheeler a couple times, you could
Yeah.
make it
Okay.
so it'd be fairly runnable. So.
All right, gentlemen, anything else for the good of the order?
Right, we appreciate it, and we will be in touch. And
Thank you.
Don't hesitate to call any of us.
Thank you for really willing to give some of your time.
Yeah.
Appreciate that very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
That's great.
Do you still live in the same place?
Do something.
Pardon?
Do you still live on the same place?
Yeah.
Okay, I know where you live.
On Mapleton Street, right at the top of the hill.
Mhm. All right. Thank
so
you very
much.
Thank you, guys.
We will definitely be in touch. All right, seeing no other public speaks, let's move along to the fire report. Chief Parker, good evening.
Brian, are you able to order another iPad cover?
You have the information,
Well, it's the same one that we ordered the last time.
all right? Can you find it? I'm just running to get my report,
Yeah.
my appropriation report.
Yeah,
I like that.
I can.
That's a quick and easy one. With a little bit of money and some.
I didn't know they wanted to run already.
With
So.
a little bit of money and excavating, you could create a path and begin to use it. My concern is that, I mean, it's a big piece of land. You're gonna have plenty of paths, still plenty.
Not online.
You know.
I think we just order them
You do
online.
it right, you can still have, you
Can
can
you-
do 2 30-acre chunks, I mean,
Can your
30-acre
staff
chunk.
will do what, like Dan, one of them, do what they did before they signed it? Just email and
Yep.
I'll get it on order.
Yep.
Because they weren't that much.
No.
That's not a bad idea.
No, they weren't. I just need to order.
All right, just get that to me.
Okay.
All right.
26 calls, a couple assists from Louisville. Again, still working on the staffing situation. That's it.
We, as far as the Marks radios go, I've got some paperwork to get turned in. Amy and I have talked about it. We have one radio we're having to be able to account for, but we're gonna make sure that we're not being billed for it. We may have one more place to check and we might do that as well.
Yeah, we can check this week.
Just so we've done our diligence all the way around on that. I was able to attend a meeting with the fire department, which thank you for inviting me. Chief Parker, it was really nice to talk to everybody. And we kind of had a brainstorming session about ways we can continue to keep people on. I think not really preaching to the choir, but the group that was there with us was very attentive and thankful to be working their B job with us. And I think it was a good group. Lots of good conversation. So I appreciate people being willing to do that and meet. We have Chief Parker has called the company that has our specs for the ambulance. And then I have in my email box an email from Downtown Ford or the guy that's purchasing. And so I don't have any new information on that yet. I'm kind of waiting to hear. I guess our next step in this process is to hear back from the ambulance builder. And I really want them to tell me, if they can, what the timeline is, or if it makes more sense to use them. We've spent no money with Downtown Ford yet. We just wanted to use them because they were local. If the ambulance company says, "Oh, I can get a chassis way before you can," then we may have to adjust. But we're out no money at this point. We just have an open purchase order from Downtown Ford, and then we have this estimate from the ambulance builder, but the estimate has the chassis in with it. So, anyhow, that estimate was $297, and that's before the cot was removed, correct? So
Correct.
Remove 25,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
About.
All right. And so I really, for fiscal officer Lowry's sake, because he's handling the funds, I really would like to make a move on this as soon as we can, because we need it. Our other one's getting older and older every day, and we're doing a lot of runs. So as soon as we hear back from the chassis, I would say the next meeting, I'm bringing you something, so we can keep moving on that. Fiscal officer Lowry, at this point, we approved the chassis and we've talked about the cost of the ambulance, but that's all we've done. We have not put a motion to approve the actual full cost, correct?
Well, we had that estimate, but
Yeah.
I think you had to wait until you actually put the order in.
Okay. All right, great. I just wanted to see where we were. So,
Yeah.
perfect. All right. Okay, anything else for fire? Oh, did we get, we got I think I already know this, but I'm saying this for the sake of the group. We have the new equipment from Louisville.
We do. I don't know that they can bill us until the first of the year,
Is that a problem?
probably,
So I won't see it go to the first year.
from Louisville.
Is that a problem?
Well, I don't want to carry anything over. I'd rather have it clean, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Would you like us to, if they say they're not selling to anybody else and it's
We
ours,
have it. We physically have it.
Oh, you physically
so
have
they
it.
just
Okay.
can't invoice
Can
us
we-
for it until the first of
can
the
we
year.
make a motion?
You already made the motion to do $2,000
Yes.
to the city of
Louisville.
Louisville.
Mhm.
Can
I
you
mean-
cut the check?
Yeah, I can cut a check as long as I want to make sure where it's going. Is it the
City of Louisville.
city of Louisville or city of Louis Fire Department? I just want to
Well,
make
that's
sure.
easy for me to find out.
Yeah. I just need to have that.
Well, can you cut it at the end of the year? Just have it off your books and give it to
Well, I
them?
can, I
First of
can
the
do
year?
it right away if you, being we got the,
Yeah.
everything.
But they don't want it until the first of the year.
Yes, they cannot invoice
They're
us until after the first of the year.
Okay.
So I have no idea.
No, we
Okay.
can do,
Okay.
we're able to
Cool.
prepare it and
Okay.
get it off our
Yep.
books.
Get it off your books in a check.
Okay,
And then if it's the 5th
I
of
can give it
January,
to the
then-
chief and she can get it to him on
That's
January 1st.
that's fine.
this is all on record, by the way. This is all on record.
No,
All right, sounds good. The money is good.
Yeah.
The money is good. All right, so you have the equipment. Have we traded it out? Is it on the truck?
Mhm.
On the truck. Great. Can we, okay, the other thing I want to ask about is the old equipment was purchased for $1 150 years ago. That's not on
Like
record.
15.
15 years ago. What
do we wanna
what
do?
legally can we do with that? Because it's property of Osnaburg Township.
I mean, could you list it on
Do we
Yeah,
want-
we can
gov
list it.
deals?
We could put it in the Ohio Township magazine, see if any other fire department wants.
Does the equipment, does it have to do with safety? You know, like somebody could, if they got it, is it somebody could get hurt on or?
No, it has been maintained. It's just
Alright.
old.
It's just old.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it
Yeah,
has
it's been
value to
maintained.
it.
The pump works. I mean, the stuff works. It's just very old.
Do we have a nice picture and literature on
Oh,
it
I'm
so
sure
we
we
could
can
put
get a
it
nice
together?
So I guess my question is this: if we paid $1 for it 15 years ago,
That's
Can
because
we-
it was a gift.
can we give it away? I mean,
No.
You trustees can deem it
You have
worth
to-
$1
We
or
would
deem it
have, we'd
something.
have to deem
Okay.
it worthless, and it's not worth.
can we deem it $1? Like, how is
You
it
can-
how
you
is it
can-
fair for us to use this equipment for 15 years and then go make money on it?
Yeah, that's
How
what
is
I
that
say.
fair?
Because it was donated to
Yeah,
us.
it was, yeah.
So we're gonna make
It
money and
was-
not donate to somebody else?
I mean,
You
we-
could-
I
you
mean,
could-
come
Are we
on.
serious?
There's still value
We're-
to it.
We're not a business. We would be
Yeah, I mean, there's
taking
still
it.
value to it. I don't
Yeah,
know that.
we
it's
You could
Trying
ask
to
for a
value,
donation. You
but
could
that-
deem it $1 and then
It's-
ask for a donation.
Okay, all right.
Deem
Someone donates us something for $1 and does us a favor 15 years ago, and we go and list it for
Well, I mean.
a monetary value over $1?
You can't do that.
We are
And then
not,
they
you're
can-
right, we're not a business, we're not a for-profit, we're a government entity. We're
Right.
Well, you would
That
put
is
it back in
terrible
your
practice.
fund. I don't know how that works exactly, but it would go back in your fire fund.
It would stay in the fire department, the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
All right.
dollar.
I'm not here to $1, I'm here to see what we can get out of it when it's old equipment. I'm saying list it for $1 and see if someone can use it.
So,
I think that's terrible practice trying to make money on that.
see, you're looking from the wrong view of it. So I'm sitting here, I'm the finance expert. If you list it for less than the value that it currently is, the IRS will come and slap you as fast as you can't list it for $1. That's unethical to do that if it has value. It doesn't matter that someone gave it to you. They could have just gave it to you and not charged you $1. They probably charged you $1 because they needed it on their books to
Yes.
do that.
Yes.
Okay, I'll vote no on whatever comes across on that, so,
Okay.
okay.
I mean, I don't know what
Great.
it's worth.
I don't know what it's worth.
You guys can decide what you want to do with it.
Okay.
Anything else for fire?
Keep it on your inventory until you do something.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll have new numbers for you for the new stuff on this inventory sheet that you gave me.
Anything else for fire? Okay, moving on. Cemetery.
I talked to Sexton Shearer today, and he told me that he would be here tonight. I updated him on, and I want to update you all on. I went to make the phone call to Miller Portable Porta Johns for our event coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Race Across America on the 17th. Last year it was $124. The company got bought out. It's owned by this Z-Tech wanted, I'm sorry, no, Z-Tech isn't it? The company that took them over, yeah, that is, I'm sorry. I got my flyers mixed up. I forget what, Z-Tech is not the flyer. I don't get all confused. The company that bought out Miller wants $1,000.
$1,000
$1,000.
for one porta potty.
Yeah, one porta potty to have it, they consider an event. I tried,
You know, you can buy a porta potty for $500, right?
Well, that's what my point was. I told him, we aren't gonna deal with you this year. They said they understood. So I don't know if this is the way they act. So I called Z-Tech, which is they're based in Canton, but their main corporate office is in Texas. It is higher. Last year we paid $124. I figured up to $150, but they're $210. And before I did anything, I wanted to bring it to you all, if you knew someplace cheaper for the weekend that you all might be aware of.
Who's the guy out of Waynesburg?
Ace,
Who is it?
Ace,
Ace. We've used Miller's in the
Ace
past.
Portable,
Yeah.
something like that. Now, Waynesburg.
Yeah, Waynesburg, if they're local,
Yeah.
that'd be great. I'm gonna look
I
up
thought there was
Miller's.
another one down there too.
Miller's. No, that's not what I want. I know we've used Miller's porta potties in the past and they've been pretty good to us. I don't feel like 210 is, I mean, obviously $1,000, wow, but I don't feel like 210 is all that.
No, I actually think that, because we rent them through the village for the festival,
Okay,
and we were paying, well, we had it for 2 days, well, 3 actually, by the time they drop it off and pick it up.
right,
But I want to say, I think they were 3 something.
okay. A
and
couple of them?
a piece.
Okay.
So I think 210 is a great
You
price.
feel like 210 is a good price. This is Miller Sanitation Services. Brian, I don't know if, and then would you just an Ace? I can give you a phone number of these guys, or I can call you.
Who is it?
This is Miller and Company Sanitation. They're in Shepherd Church in Canton.
That's the one that is bought out.
That's the one that's bought
That's the
out.
one
Okay.
bought out.
What did you say the other one was? Ace?
Mm-hmm.
Ace.
Waynesburg.
Okay, cool. I don't feel like 210 is a lot.
I don't know what Ace is. That's, to know what they charge.
We may be looking into this for the Suco Spring Week. We may have one out there for a couple of years. So
Yeah, maybe we need to buy one.
I don't know. Maybe. Canton Discount Porta Potty Rental. Ace. That's on Canton. That's
How much
330
are they?
583 4807. Could try them too.
I think they're more than 500 to buy.
Are they? I can look that up too.
Yeah. it was
Then you gotta get them
sometime-
serviced. You gotta get them clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
But,
You want to do something like a resolution to say
I would.
210, and then anything under, if I call Ace, I can get it cheaper than that.
well, do you know 210 was your price?
He said 210, and he said in the winter they have a $5, so it'd be 215. He gave it to me in writing, so. that's
Okay.
where we're at.
I think we just did.
Yeah, I make a motion that you get a porta potty for the Wreaths Across America at Mapleton Church, not to exceed 240.
Trustee Varian second.
Roll call, and
Yes,
Griffith.
Yes.
you're right. 800 to about 900. You can buy
And
one.
if you get a handicap, see, we paid more because we got a
Handicap one, the flat bottom ones. You
Yeah.
can roll in. Yeah, got it.
And I know, just to let you know, I'm off on that weekend, and I know Stu always volunteers and helps
Yeah,
out
I'll
on
volunteer.
traffic control and all. So we plan on supporting and
Being
doing
there.
that part of being there
Great.
with the
We'll
trucks.
have the
and
trucks and come,
Slow the
Typically-
traffic down.
signs up.
Typically, they want the president to come there.
I talked to KU Pool, and
Okay,
I'm
good.
going to be in Cleveland on that weekend, and I talked to Randy, and he's going to go speak.
Okay.
He said he'll be there. And I have Brian as a backup if you can't go. If I don't know, I didn't call you to bother you because I happened to be talking to Randy when I got a text message from Kay about it. So Yeah, she didn't ask for anything. She just said, will somebody come and represent the township? I said, what would you like to hear? She said, I don't know, just say something. And I was like, okay. So I said, we'll have somebody there to represent the township. I think I think all three of us were there last year, but it was, Randy did something short last year. I think all four of us, I think we did 5 of us, I think we were all there.
I was kind of sick, I stayed in front.
Yeah, it was a nice event.
Mhm.
She's a little bit low.
First year was really cold.
She's a little bit low on recess, that's what she said.
Oh, really?
So,
Well, the economy probably helped.
yeah, probably, you're probably right. Okay, road report.
Good evening, everybody. If the trustees have looked over the road report, is there any questions you'd like to ask?
I would like to go on record and thank Stu and the fire department. Had a tree go down on our property on Orchard View, covered the whole road. So Amy called and Stu was right there with the mini and the grapple, made light work of it. The road was only closed for a few minutes. So thank you guys. Very much appreciate that. They were right on it.
So you're still having problems with the backhoe?
It's fixed.
Oh, you got the shuttle shift is in?
Ag Pro came out and looked at it and tore into the shifter and said they thought that's where the problem was instead of a sensor down on the transmission. And he ordered the new part and it was there he ordered it on, I think Friday. No, he ordered it on a Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving or whatever. And, no, it was the Friday before.
Do we have a bill yet?
No.
Cool.
But anyways, he
but
got
the
the
shuttle
part,
shift
came
fixed
out,
it.
it's all brand new shifter.
Great.
And it's
Did it right here on
it's
site.
working good.
Perfect.
I took it out, tested it, ran around with it,
Pull pop to wheelie.
and yeah.
Okay.
It's not missing a lick. So
All right.
I feel much better about that going into the winter here. Because it was leaving me sitting out there, couldn't move. for
How are we looking on snowplow drivers?
0.
Okay.
As far as for the 550, nobody. We have not
Okay.
had one bite.
Okay.
I spoke to Randy Piro and asked him if Rudy was going to be able to help, and he said he would even try to help too, I guess, if he has to. But my biggest thing is when I call, we need to go
Now.
when I call, not 3-4 hours later.
Yeah, right.
Again, I need the plows, the river plows for the
Yep.
buses and the kids and stuff. That's my biggest worry out of anything.
So you don't have anybody right now, or you do?
I have nobody right now for the 550.
Okay.
I've been letting people know, everybody I come in contact with, Brian, Garrett, the same way, letting all kind of people know in case they talk to somebody. I mean, Stark County came out last Wednesday, I think it was, and sucked out some culverts for us out on Parks Avenue. And they were asking if we had any extra guys they could have to help for stuff. I said, no.
You got some extra help?
They're having the same problem.
Do not have extra help.
It's everywhere, they said. They're short, on drivers.
Okay. I know this is not the right practice, but I will also help I've got some plow experience. Between Randy and I, that's not the way to fix that problem.
We
But
know,
if the
but
snow flies and you need help,
yeah, we're gonna have to have
Then
help
I would
because we
I
can't
would-
go unattended.
I would rather come and have you show me before there's snow on the ground. So we're doing some routes together, maybe.
Yep.
So that if I'm called in the middle of the night, I'm
I
not.
take you out and drive you around
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
do the route according to how we usually do it.
But if you have no one, I will participate in that.
Hopefully we'll find somebody.
Yeah.
It's
And I'll-
nice to find an older guy that's retired that can go on call.
And as far as the insurance from the township goes, The 550 is a regular.
550
license.
is just a plain
They just
truck.
have to
You
have
do
a
not have to
good-
have a CDL.
You have to have just a
nothing.
good record for you
Just
to
a
get
good
insured.
driving record,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
They're, you know.
So what are we paying for a snowplow driver?
I forget what the bottom is,
It depends on experience, but
experience, CDLs and
So
all
if they come
that.
with their CDL,
the CDLs has more value, you know, I don't have that right in front of me to be able to answer it because the CDL guys with raises that have been here for 10, 15 years are making more. It's only one guy, but he's making more than a guy just coming in. But it's anywhere from the 1550 up to almost 17.
Is that-
That's pretty much what I've been telling people for the 550, starting out
And there's a minimum on a snow.
around
bike, isn't there?
$15
There's a minimum.
for starting out like
Give
that.
somebody out.
Yeah.
Because the neighbor guy down past Dick Van Boris down there, he was driving for a local, but he has a CDL and he,
Oh, that's that truck driver you talked about back here several years ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's done driving full
You
time.
totally done there driving now?
Yeah, he doesn't want to drive full time. So he just did that like a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if he'd be interested or not.
I've got another guy, Howard Betts is his name, and he helped me with some maintenance on the rental properties. But he drove triples for FedEx over the turnpike for most of his life. He told me he doesn't want to look out the front window of a truck anymore, but he may, he's a super nice guy and available and used to work in weird hours. He drove truck all these crazy hours. So I could say something to him too, but just a good guy.
You
That's
know,
got a
and
CDL.
that's the big thing about
He's a good
this
guy. He's
job.
a good dude.
You're gonna be going it, they
No.
gotta understand it. This isn't I'm gonna call you and we go minute 7 o'clock and plow roads during the daytime.
Right.
You gotta go at maybe midnight, you
Right.
gotta go at 2, you got
Sure.
at 4, you don't know.
Got
It
it.
goes according to the way the storm is or the snow's coming down.
Sure.
There really needs to be someone, like you said, that
Yeah.
in the township and,
Your guy's in the township. My guy's in Louisville, but
well,
still, he
no,
could be
this
here pretty
guy's,
quick.
he's in Sandy.
He's in Sandy.
He's
okay.
down the road, because we're the last one. in
Yeah, that's right.
Osnaburg.
Yours is further down. Okay.
We're not
All
getting
right.
much snow this year, I'm on.
Still,
So look at that big pile of salt all year.
Hey, I don't care. We're saving money.
We're saving money.
Right, Mr. Oliver?
All right.
Every time we ain't gotta go out and salt.
All right. Anything else?
Oh,
You don't need to spend any money.
I,
Shouldn't say that.
There's nothing else.
right now, I think everything's fixed, ready to go for snow.
All right.
I had to replace my spreader motor, which I went and bought 2 motors.
You already approved those.
Yep, you already.
Yeah, the spreader motor. Yeah.
But I
What
did
on
have to
the shelf.
replace my spreader motor, so that one's already used, so.
All right. Okay. Great. Thank you, Mr. Onkefer.
Okay.
Okay. All right. How about zoning?
Well, since the last meeting, there was 2 permits issued. One for a new building on Sindel over there, and one for a new house.
Oh, good. Oh, Levi.
Over on the nuisance side, I went by the old Indian Run Church and took pictures and sent out a letter to them. So
that's a repeat customer.
there's tires all over the parking lot there and trash and other things scattered throughout over there.
I went past there today when I was picking limbs up everywhere and logs. That big tree, Brian, Mr. Lauer,
That's out front.
is that partly on us and them, or that big
is
tree
on
out there?
That tree is. on
The tree in the front yard of the church?
Yes,
I think it's on
think
our
it's on-
property.
Is it?
it's on us.
No,
It's not on us.
I'll look here.
Because there's, as big as the tree is, there's limbs that came out of it that are laying kind of out towards, like, the edge of that tree towards our driveway there.
If they're laying on if they're laying on our property, on the township's property, you can clean them up, but all the stuff that I see laying up against on their side,
No, I'm talking about the limbs that came out of that tree, between the tree and our driveway going in there.
that's what I'm saying. The property
Okay,
between
I'll
the
pick those
tree
up
and
then. I'll
them.
get those cleaned out.
But let me just show you so you got it. I thought you already had this down pat once I find it.
Well,
It says it's
It must be,
fine.
yeah, it must be right up. Maple Grove is the Louisville address for Levi. Must be right on the edge of Osnaburg. Because it's the backside of his mom and dad's, because they're on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is really looking
he's
dumpy.
trying to spin around.
It's a shame.
I didn't realize it was in Osnaburg.
He said he had 16 acres.
They had a house over by May. It was on May.
16.
It's great.
I don't
The
know.
Stefanik's just put a house over that in that area too. They've got a port permit pretty close there. Had a couple houses go up and it's kind of good.
Okay, oh, yeah. Oh,
Let me back up here. Oops. I'll zoom in here. The base of that tree, you see where my cursor is? You see that line right there?
Yeah.
There's our property. There's a pin right there where I got the cursor. And that other pin, even though the direction is right up against the back of the church. This all is
It's
part of
theirs.
that parcel.
Well, there's limbs out here. You can see how big this tree is. It's right out here to the property line. Some of these limbs have fallen off there and they're laying almost right on us.
We've talked about putting a fence up. Would the fence follow that zigzag?
That zigzag.
Okay, so if we put a fence up, it would follow that
It'd
zig.
be within 3 or 4 feet of the foundation behind this house,
Okay.
behind the house right now.
Probably enough to walk between the building and the fence.
Barely.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
barely.
Yeah, it goes really
Goes
close.
real close.
Those are all
Really
headstones
close.
there.
Yeah, I see them all the way down.
Yeah, that's,
Gotcha.
that's within.
But a big vinyl privacy fence would spend our entire budget for the
Yeah,
cemetery.
I mean, just look at that. I don't know.
That's an old picture and it still looks kind of bad.
Oh, it's bad. I went past it.
It looks a lot worse.
That's why I went. I didn't want to just go over there and walk on there and start picking
Yeah.
something up.
At least catch some of the trash.
Okay, now I know.
Yeah, because you could put those.
Yeah. You put the little strips in it. All right, anything else for zoning?
The property over on Swallen, there is some vehicles left outside. They're parked behind the garage.
Okay.
So on the clear back of the property, but they don't meet the requirements
Okay,
to be able to do anything about
so
them.
the building's up, there's concrete in it, there's a door on it, and the cars that are left outside are behind the building.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a step in the right direction.
So that one's handled as
Good.
far as that goes.
Great.
The building over here that we're concerned about being too close to the property line, that was built without the permit. The prosecutor's office is gonna send out a letter asking them to contact us to get that resolved. And then, as far as the prosecutors got on the Indian Run property, they're waiting to hear back from the health department to figure out their next steps for that.
Okay. I missed, someone is building a house across from that, up on the hill. I missed that.
On the Miller property, they bought the corner there.
Yeah,
That's the
They're
middle.
gonna probably take that house down and they build it up in there.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I drove by there the other day, but oh my gosh, I missed the permit for that. I didn't,
Yeah, did they?
that was a couple weeks
a
ago.
little while back, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, house is going up, I mean, it's
Oh,
standing.
it's up.
Did
What's
the
up?
prosecutor say anything about the Ravenna property?
Just that they would send out a letter.
You don't know what they're saying? Okay.
I think she's going to send me a copy of it once she gets it all wrote up. But just if it was, say contact us for resolving the issue.
Okay.
So the zoning commission, Mary, you wanna talk about that?
So they had their hearing for the overlay language and map last Monday. And they decided to approve it. They made a couple adjustments and considered the regional planning's suggestions. So
Okay.
most of the changes were grammatical, making just more specific, a little bit more clear to whoever's looking at it.
Yeah.
The regional planning suggested removing a couple things. The commission decided to keep it just for clarity purposes, and it was a little more specific than what we already have.
I think the biggest thing was that they wanted us to combine or separate the Route 30 and 172 into two separate layered zonings. And when we met with the consultant, he recommended that we let them go together.
I see.
So I don't know, regional planning really didn't clearly say why they thought they should be separate.
Yeah, if the verbiage is gonna be the same in both, why does it matter that they're together or separate? Right?
Yeah,
You're not gonna change one
no,
and then,
because and we're doing it with the thought process of the Route 30 extension.
Yeah.
So they're going to take a road from 44 and it's gonna be on the demolition site there.
okay,
And it's gonna go over and touch 172. When I say they, the state, that's what they propose.
Okay.
So the traffic's gonna come off of 172 to get to there too.
Yeah.
So to us, they're both treated the same is what the analysis the commission came up with.
right.
So
They're okay with us keeping it, they're okay with keeping both areas of layered zoning on the same verbiage, correct? They're okay with, they want you to split them, but they're okay with it if we don't split them, right?
Yeah, they,
they just make a recommendation.
They make a recommendation, okay, great.
But, so when Mary finishes adjusting the document that comes with it, she'll present it at next trustee meeting. And then we have to hold a hearing within 45 days.
Okay,
So that would have us holding our hearing January 9th.
okay. January 9th.
So we have to wait for the documents to come. And the document and the map, we probably will want to put it up next meeting.
Trustee Griffith, I mean, I received these documents for OS1 and OS2, which have dates on them now that, I mean, to me, I thought you had to react to these now, at least set something up, or do you not? I mean, I just got those. I just want to make sure that all the work you've done, I don't want to miss the boat on something that I needed to have, that you needed to make a approve on. Or does it go back to the commission again?
Well, Mary hasn't completed these yet. She's got to
Okay.
sign these down here and stuff.
So,
So she has to make the edits from regional planning that they accepted
okay,
to the document. So she can't present them to us yet
okay.
because they're
So
not done.
once those are on there, then
that time limit starts.
that time limit starts after.
Right.
it's
So
on.
until she gives it to us at next meeting, it doesn't
Okay.
start.
All right, so we don't, the clock isn't ticking yet.
No,
Yeah, okay,
because they're making some changes.
all right.
Awesome. Okay, nothing more on the shipping container? It's still tabled?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, anything else for zoning?
that's all I have right now.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. All right, old business. We have driver records.
Yeah, every year, Sue and I, and she actually take lead on this, we have to send in everybody's driver's license that drives all the vehicles.
Okay.
And then we have notification from the state on any points that the drivers have. And then there's limitations that are set in there. Like ours, and I apologize, I think ours is, you can have 4, but anything over that, they're not allowed to be driving a vehicle.
Points.
Points.
I thought with Otarma, they said 3 maybe.
Well, you got one that has 4, but they get taken off every 2 years,
Okay.
certain ones based on what the points were on there for. All the rest of them that are on the list only have 2. It's all dealing with our fire department. There's 2 points on 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers and 4 points on one.
Okay,
So you might want to check into the one with 4 points. I'm not
Okay.
sure how that's going to come
all
out.
right. Who do I call? Before I call
Well,
her,
first
before
you
I call that person.
Get Amy to get you the policy they have up there. Because they
Okay.
have it. I want to make sure what I was reading says 4. But there's something about how they worded that up there about if it
Can
depends
I-
what the cause was.
I'm gonna take a picture of that, so
Yeah.
you can keep it. Okay, I'll call her and I'll go
Right.
through this.
Just
So
to make
you
sure.
think Amy has the verbiage of what the bylaws say is what you're allowed to, okay.
We
Okay.
have it, but I want to make sure there's nothing been updated because they were working on books.
Yeah,
working
they were
on-
changing things.
They were changing.
So
But
are these just people with points and
Yes.
then, and everyone else doesn't have
Yeah,
anything?
everybody else.
I was gonna say, because everybody drives.
Everybody here
Right,
here's a
everybody
complete
clear.
report of
Okay,
every
everybody
single-
else, those are just ones with points, got it,
Once you
okay,
get an answer
Even
to
me.
the book,
yeah,
then you need to go back to Tarma to see what they're allowing.
all right. So I need to call Tarma once I talk to Amy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
And Tarma, Wendy France can tell you that.
I can call, make one
Yeah,
phone call,
yeah.
she'll be able to tell me.
Yeah.
All right.
Because that might throw a monkey wrench or something, but somebody may not, should be driving.
And then could we look into this further to see when that
Yeah,
falls off?
Yes, it all gives the time. It's 2019 actually falls off this year, 2023, one or two of them.
At January of 23
What's that?
I don't know.
or December 31st of 23?
Well,
Yeah, it's a big
January
difference.
1st, I should say.
January
One
1st of
falls off.
23.
So that would drop to
Okay.
3. And it says
I
that
will
on
work on
these
that.
reports.
All right,
But all you need to know is if you can find out for sure from the fire department, and then I can get the other information.
I will get on that.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta get that Mark's radio stuff in too. Okay. All right, anything else for old? How about new business? Oh, Tarma nomination.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where I put that paperwork down. You know, every year they have the Tarma. I know Joyce
Right.
Felcher is up for,
Is she up?
yeah, she's up for reelection. Then you're supposed to vote for 2. I just want to give you a heads up. I'll be getting that to you. I don't know if I shot it to you all. I gave it to Sue this morning, but I know we were scrambling this morning to get everything out.
But I don't think we have to vote for 2 because we really want
There's 3 or 4 on there, but you're supposed to vote for 2 as a board.
Right.
But, you know, you don't have to, I guess.
Because I thought before we voted just for Joyce, because voting for 2 could be a vote that hurts her.
No.
So I would recommend we just vote for her and not 2.
And it don't have to be done till January the 14th or something, but I
Okay.
just received it, that way you.
We've
We
got
can
a
look
little-
at it next meeting.
We've got a little bit of time. Okay,
Okay.
great. All right, temporary appropriations for 2023.
Yeah, my goal is to have that to you in front of you, all at the next meeting.
Great.
It's like I say, it's temporary. It's just to run us through January, February, March. And then we'll go into the permanent side of things.
Okay,
Okay.
great. All right, how about, we have correspondence? And anything else before we motion to adjourn? Do we have our meetings all set? We have a special meeting coming up, don't we?
Yeah.
For the levy conversation. Can I just confirm,
That's a work session before.
can I just confirm the date and time of that real quick?
It's on, let me see, it's on. I could put so many in there, I don't have everything in
It's
the,
on the 12th.
yeah,
at
it's on
6
the
o'clock.
12th, I
Thank
believe that one.
I have it on here. Great. And that is in fact our next meeting. All right.
And that's a work session. Is that exclusively for the levy, Brian, then?
Let me read my notes here on a minute, so make sure I say it right.
I didn't realize it was just for the levy.
Yeah, fiscal, road man, future to discuss existing road and fire levies and future budgets.
Okay.
Discussion followed with no formal action taken other than the work session must be advertised according to resolution 2207 from January 4th, 2022. And, I apologize because there was no formal, but that was said at that December 12th, an hour before at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Great.
And then the other
And
one
did
was
we also do the reorg?
well, we did the trustee meeting on Tuesday, or we moved it to Wednesday, November the 30th.
Okay.
I gotta make sure where I got that. I'm sorry, the 20, gotta make sure where I got
The
it.
27th, the Tuesday.
Yeah, it's on Tuesday, the 27th. And then your reorg is on the January the, I got it.
4th.
Yep, 4th. And that one is at 5 o'clock. At minutes earlier.
I have 5:30 on that,
And let
Brian.
me just double check, because I don't have it right in front of me. I got it on my calendar here.
Fourth, okay.
5:30 is what I.
Yeah,
Reorg 5:30.
I think I got it that way too. I just want to make sure.
I just want to also note on record that I was invited to a water meeting with the mayor of East Canton on the 30th, which is this Wednesday.
So
At
who's he
3
meeting with?
o'clock.
Because he's supposed to be inviting more than just you.
He asked for just me, unless you want to call him and tell him otherwise. I can show you his text message. I don't know if he doesn't want a crowd or what. Or I can postpone until I'm not the president in a month and someone else can go. So,
I mean, I think it's okay for you to go, but that wasn't what we agreed to when we all sat down in a meeting.
I know.
So I'm not sure that we should, but, I mean,
I'm trying to find this message here. And I have it on my calendar as water meeting, Stark Eco Development. It's in Canton. It's on 3rd Street. It's downtown.
so I wonder if that's with the old Aqua High.
Maybe 403rd Street. I can look up real quick what 403rd Street is. Maybe it's still Aqua High. 3rd. I just confirmed that I got his message. I can message him back and say that we'd all like to attend.
Is that south or north, 3rd Street?
Southeast. It's at 3 p.m.
It's at the Stark State Building.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
at the,
Okay.
it's up where Stark Development is.
Yep. All right. Suite 310.
Well, I would encourage you to ask him,
Okay.
we agreed that we were all going to be there, why do you just want me?
Okay.
And maybe he doesn't really, maybe he just worded it that way, or maybe he
Yeah.
does, who knows?
Okay. All right. Anything else? Can I have a motion for adjournment?
A motion that we adjourn and pay bills.
Trustee Varian, second. Roll call.
Darian
Yes.
Griffith,
Yes.
and it is 9
It
o'clock.
is 9 o'clock. Look at that. Thanks, guys. I'll ask. Brenda will ask him too. I know it was kind of weird when he messaged me, so.
Oh, it's kind of odd that we all showed up and there were people invited that didn't know we're